Not every draft class will have superstar talents that will transcend a franchise. Sometimes teams get luckier than others. Some organizations just have a better front office, which allows them to take future all-stars, having later picks nobody could have expected. Ricky Rubio became the first player born in the 1990s to be selected in the 2009 draft. Still 29 years old, it's safe to say we've seen every one of those players selected in the 2000s in their primes. Some of them have been retired for over a decade. Let's take a look at every draft class in the 2000s decades from worst to best, starting from the very worst, 2000. Still the weakest class in the modern era, Kenyon Martin was selected first overall, stayed all 4 years at Cincinnati, likely the last player to be picked first overall, staying all 4 years in college. Looking at the lottery picks, 2 to 5 are huge busts. 6 and 7 extreme disappointments. Everybody's officially retired besides Jamal Crawford, the last man standing, 1,326 games and counting. Not only did the class not have a franchise player, but only 3 total All-Stars, Kenyon Martin, Jamal McGlure, and Michael Redd, all from the 2004 season. Hedo Turkoglu, Mike Miller, and Jay Crossover had the highest win shares, while Redd had the best peak. Injuries slowed him down, cut his career short. Nobody besides the 6'6" shooting guard from this class was ever a number 1 option on a playoff caliber team. The only player to average more than 15 points for his career. It's an absolute travesty. Out of 58 players selected, Redd was the only one who made an All-NBA team selection. Everyone knew this class was going to be awful when Mike Miller won Rookie of the Year, averaging under 12 points. Number 9, the 2002 class. A lot better than 2000. There was much animosity about who was going to be taken first overall. Point guard Jay Williams was the most interesting college player out of Duke. Against a 7'6" international giant named Yao Ming, made all the headlines. Just like in many drafts, a bunch of lottery picks didn't pan out. Williams sadly got into a serious motorcycle accident, only played 1 season, cut his career short. Nicholas Gicishvili, a classic European boss, 5th overall. Dejan Wagner, best remembered for his 100-point game in high school. Injuries derailed his career, only lasted 103 total games. Nene ended up having the longest career out of everybody. 4 total All-Stars, Yao, Amari Stoudemire, 2 of the best players from this class. Carlos Boozer became one of the best power forwards. Caron Butler, 1-time All-Star. 3 of these guys appeared on All-NBA. Amari and Yao multiple times, but Stat the only one to make first team. Yao's already in the Hall of Fame after injuries cut his career short. Amari's case remains to be determined. While Tayshaun Prince, Nene, and Luis Scola were fantastic role players. Number 8, the 2004 class. The year after the historic 03 class, 04 wasn't that interesting. Orlando had the first pick. It was going to be between Dwight Howard and Emeka Okafor, a high school phenom against a proven college star, making the right decision. There were plenty of disappointments. Okafor fell off after his rookie season. Sean Livingston was viewed possibly the next Magic Johnson before his devastating ACL injury, bounced back nicely. Josh Childress, underwhelming. Rafael Araujo, a huge bust. Luke Jackson and Robert Swift as well. Sebastian Telfair, a high school prodigy, never developed a jump shot, played only 10 seasons, 5 total All-Stars. Howard, the only superstar and franchise player with the Magic, a guaranteed lock for the Hall of Fame, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. The other All-NBA player from this class, Al Jefferson, shockingly never became an All-Star. Luol Deng, the only other player to make more than 1 All-Star team. Devin Harris, Andre Iguodala, and Jameer Nelson, all 1-time All-Stars. Iggy might be the only other player besides Dwight to make the Hall of Fame from this class. Considered one of the weakest college talents, 9 of the first 20 picks either came out of high school or from overseas. Some of the good players outside the lottery: Big Al, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith, Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen, and Kevin Martin. Number 7, the 2006 draft. Highly disappointing, filled with unfulfilling talent. This class was supposed to be one of the best. Adam Morrison, the 3rd pick, was a superstar legend at Gonzaga, averaged 28 points his final college season. Some say he would be the next Larry Bird. Tyrus Thomas, a freak athlete at LSU, never panned out to be anything. Sheldon Williams, considered a highly skilled big out of Duke, another big bust. Andrea Bargnani, underachieved, put up empty numbers on a bad Raptors team. Patrick O'Brien and Mohamed Sane were flat out awful. The 5 All-Stars, LaMarcus Aldridge, Brandon Roy, Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, and Rajon Rondo. Aldridge and Lowry will likely end up making the Hall of Fame. Rondo, who knows? This draft would have been ranked higher if Roy stayed healthy, on his way to becoming the best player in this class, a 3-time All-Star before his knees gave out on him. Aldridge and Roy could have been an insane duo. Rondo and Lowry, the other 4 to make an All-NBA team. Good role players includes JJ Redick, Rudy Gay, Thabo Sefolosha, and PJ Tucker. Number 6, the 2005 draft. The class of point guards, solid, but many players didn't live up to their potential. The first and second picks, Andrew Bogut and Marvin Williams, were nowhere near as good as Darren Williams and Chris Paul. Andrew Bynum was solid when healthy. 5 total All-Stars, CP3, D. Will, Danny Granger, David Lee, and Bynum joined the late 2000s. It was a heavy debate between two of the best point guards, Williams and Paul. While Paul had the better all-around numbers, Williams had great playoff success on a solid Utah team, but fell off with the Brooklyn Nets. Paul's a clear-cut future Hall of Famer. None of the others from this class would make it. Lou Williams, the 45th pick, will likely be remembered more than Darren Williams. One of the most forgotten players, Danny Granger, a 26-point scorer in his prime, but quickly slowed down by injuries. David Lee, a 2-time All-Star, was a great player on the bad Knicks team, was also an All-Star in 2013 over Steph Curry for Golden State, became an NBA champion. Other good role players includes Monte Ellis, Nate Robinson, Jared Jack, and Raymond Felton. Number 5, 2001 draft class. The first time 3 of the top 4 picks came straight out of high school in a time where big men were still heavily valued. The 2 guards selected 5th and 6th, Jason Richardson and Shane Battier, became terrific role players. Eddie Griffin and Sadana Diop, not so good. Griffin had alcohol problems, died from a deadly crash at 25. Joe Johnson, a terrific player. Richard Jefferson, solid as well. A lot of draft steals after the lottery, having 8 total All-Stars. Pau Gasol and Tony Parker, 2 of the most successful players from this class. TP picked 28 by the Spurs, both multiple-time champions. Gilbert Arenas, a 2nd-round pick, the most talented, would have been the best if it wasn't for his injuries. Joe Johnson, 7-time All-Star. Mehmet Okur, the 38th pick. Zach Randolph, drafted 19. Gerald Wallace, 25th, and Tyson Chandler rejuvenated himself, won Defensive Player of the Year in 2012. Gasol and TP, 2 guaranteed Hall of Famers. Despite some huge busts over the first couple picks, this class had many good role players, very solid overall. Number 4, the 2007 class. The Greg Oden vs. Kevin Durant battle, a heated debate at the time, both were viewed as franchise future superstars. Durant would have been the number 1 pick in 80% of other draft classes. While Oden was being compared to the likes of Bill Russell, Al Horford and Mike Conley would become very good role players themselves, selected right after. Joakim Noah, 9th overall, won Defensive Player of the Year. The biggest draft steal, Marc Gasol, 48th overall, 4 total All-Stars from this class. One of the best players all time in Kevin Durant, an MVP, Finals MVP. While Gasol and Noah each made All-NBA first team at least once in their careers, terrific defenders in their primes. Horford, very consistent. Ejon Leon, a forgotten bust. Depth wasn't a major part of this class, although some of the solid players include Thaddeus Young, Aaron Afalo, Marco Bellinelli, and Wilson Chandler. Having Durant alone makes it better than the 2006 class. Marc Gasol will also go down as a future Hall of Famer. Greg Oden, one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history, while Horford and Noah might not make the Hall of Fame. Number 3, the 2008 draft. This class could have been even better if Michael Beasley and OJ Mayo lived up to their potentials and took the NBA more seriously. Westbrook and Kevin Love, 2 fantastic players out of UCLA. Danilo Gallinari and Eric Gordon became good role players. Joe Alexander, the forgotten bust. DJ Augustine and Brook Lopez, very solid. 2 MVPs in Rose and Westbrook, 2 of the most athletic point guards the game has ever seen. One became the youngest to ever win the award. The other averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons. 7 total All-Stars, 4 from the lottery. The other 3, Roy Hibbert, 17th pick. DeAndre Jordan, 35th pick. Goran Dragic, the 45th pick. All very good NBA players. Other good role players includes Nicholas Batum, Serge Ibaka, Brian Anderson, and George Hill. Westbrook, a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Kevin Love, very likely. Derrick Rose remains to be seen. Number 2, the 2009 draft class. Even better than 08, one of the best classes in NBA history, composed of elite guards, players who's changed the game. Despite the loaded guard play, Blake Griffin, easily the consensus first overall pick, a hyped up once-in-a-generational type athlete. The best player in the draft, Steph Curry, pick 7. Hashim Thabit, a huge bust, maybe the worst 2nd overall pick all time. James Harden, a franchise superstar. Tariq Evans fell off, won Rookie of the Year, but still put up decent numbers after. Ricky Rubio, an alright point guard. While Jordan Hill, Terrence Williams, Tyler Hampsborough, and Earl Clark, all busts. 6 total All-Stars, 2 generational type players in Curry and Harden, 3 MVPs combined, 2 of the top 5 players in the 2010s decade, DeMar DeRozan, a very good 2-guard, Blake Griffin, an MVP candidate in his prime, Drew Holiday, good 2-way guy, and Jeff Teague, very solid in his prime. Some other decent role players include Patrick Beverley, Patty Mills, Danny Green, Darren Collison, and Taj Gibson. A terrific draft overall. Number 1, the 2003 draft. One of the best classes all time, including the best of his generation, LeBron James, plus 3 other future Hall of Famers in Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. 4 MVPs from James alone. Wade won a Finals MVP his 3rd season and a top 3 player at his peak. 9 total All-Stars, 3 times more than the weak 2000 class. David West, the 5th best player from this draft, became one of the best power forwards in his prime. Josh Howard, good years with Dallas. Mo Williams, remembered for his Cleveland days. Chris Kaman of the Clippers, and Kyle Korver. Some of the busts include Darko Milicic, one of the most famous ones all time, and Mike Sweetney. Very good role players includes Kurt Heinrich, TJ Ford, Michael Petrus, Leandro Barbosa, and Boris Diaw. Other notable players on good teams: Zaza Pachulia, Kendrick Perkins, and Nick Collison. Thank you so much for watching this video. What's your favorite draft class of the 2000s decade? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of you. See you next time.